Hello and welcome to India Reads. My name is Pradeep and we are reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. We are in book 6. Here we go. Nature is pliable, obedient, and the logos that governs it has no reason to do evil. It knows no evil, does none, and causes harm to nothing. It dictates all beings and all endings, beginnings and all endings. Just do the just just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Cold or warm, tired or well rested, despised or honored, dying or busy with other assignments. Because dying too is one of our assignments in life. There as well to do what needs doing. Look inward, don't let the true nature of or value of anything elude you. Before long, all existing things will be transformed to rise like smoke, assuming all things become one, or be dispersed in fragments. The Logos knows where it stands and what it has to do and what it has to work with. The best revenge is not to be like that, to move from one unselfish action to another with God in mind. Only there, delight and stillness. The mind is that which is roused and directed by itself. It makes of itself what it chooses. It makes what it chooses of its own experience. Experience is brought about by nature, not by anything beyond it, within it, or apart from it. Mixture, interaction, dispersal, or unity, order, design. Suppose, why would I want to live? Why would I want to live in disorder and confusion? Why would I care about anything except eventual dust to dust? Why would I feel any anxiety? Dispersal is certain, whatever I do. Or suppose reverence, serenity, faith in res- power responsibility. When jarred unavoidably by circumstances, revert at once to yourself and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. You will have a better grasp of the harmony if you keep going back to it. If you had a stepmother and a real mother, you would pay your respects to your stepmother, yes, but it's your real mother you'd go home to. The quote and the philosophy, keep returning to it. The rest in its embrace. It's all that makes the quote and you endurable. Like seeing roasted meat and other dishes in front of you and suddenly realizing this is a dead fish, a dead bird, a dead pig, or or that this noble vintage is a grape juice and purple robes are sheep wool dyed with shellfish blood, or making love, something rubbing against your penis, a brief seizure, and a cloudy liquid. Perceptions like that, latching onto things and piercing through them, so we see what they really are. That what we need to do all the time. Through all our lives, when things lay claim to our trust, to lay them bare and see how pointless they are, to strip away the legend that encrusts them. Pride is a matter of deception, master of deception. When you think you're occupied in weightiest business, that's when he has you in a spell. Things ordinary people are impressed by fall into the category of things which are held together by simple physics, like stones or wood, or by natural growth, figs, vines, olives. Those admired by more advanced minds are held together by a living soul, flocks of sheep, herds of cow. Still more sophisticated people admire what is guided by a rational mind, not the universal mind, but one admired for its technical knowledge, or for some other skill, or just because it happens to own a lot of slaves. But those who revere that other mind, the one we all share as humans and citizens, aren't interested in other things. Their focus is on the state of their own minds to avoid all selfishness and illogic, to work with others to achieve that goal. Some things are rushing into existence, others out of it. Some of what now exists is already gone. Change in flux constantly remake the world, just as the incessant progression of time remakes eternity. We find ourselves in a river. Which of the things around us should we value when none of them can offer a firm foothold? Like an attachment to a sparrow, we glimpse it and it's gone. And life itself, like the decoction of blood, the drawing in of air, we expel the power of breathing we drew in at birth, just yesterday or the day before, breathing it out like the air we exhale at each moment. What is it in ourselves should we prize? Not just transpiration, even plants do that, or respiration, in beasts and wild animals breathe, or stuck by passing thoughts, or jerked like puppet by our own impulses. or moving in herds, or eating and relieving yourself afterwards. Then what is to be prized? An audience clapping? No, no more than the clacking of their tongues, which is all public praise amounts to, a clacking of tongues. So we throw out other people's recognition. Then what's left for us to prize? I think it is to do and not do what we were designed for. That's the goal of all trades, all arts, and what each of them aims at. That the thing that they create should do what it was designed to do. The nurseryman who cares for the vines, that horse trainer, the dog breeder, that is what they aim at. And teaching and education, what else are they trying to accomplish? And that's what we should prize. Hold on to that, and you won't be tempted to aim at anything else. And if you can't stop prizing a lot of other things, then you'll never be free, independent, imperturbable, because you'll always be envious and jealous, afraid that people will come and take it all away from you, plotting against those who have them. Those things you prize, people who need those things are bound to be a mess and bound to take out their frustration on the gods. Whereas to respect your own mind, to prize it, will leave you satisfied with your own self, well integrated into your community and in tune with the gods as well, embracing what they allowed you and what they ordain. Elements move upwards, downwards, in all directions. The motion of virtue is different, deeper. It moves at a steady pace on a road hard to discern and always forward. The way people behave, they refuse to admire their contemporaries, the people whose lives they share. No, but to be admired by posterity, people they've never met and they never will. That's what they set their hearts on. You might as well be upset at not being a hero to your great grandfather. Not to assume it's impossible because you find it hard, but to recognize if it's humanly possible, you can do it too. In the ring, our opponents can gouge us by their nails or butt us with their heads and leave a bruise. But we don't denounce them for it or get upset with them or regard them from then on as violent types. We keep an eye on them after that, not out of hatred or suspicion, but keeping a friendly distance. We need to do that in other areas. We need to excuse what our sparring partners do and keep our distance without suspicion or hatred. If anyone can refute me, show me if I'm making a mistake or looking at things from a wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. If it's the truth I'm after, it is the truth I'm after, and the truth never harmed anyone. What harms us is to persist in self deceit and ignorance. I do what is mine to do, the rest doesn't disturb me. The rest is inanimate or has no logos, or it wanders at random and has lost the road. When you deal with irrational animals, with things and circumstances, be generous and straightforward. You are rational, they are not. When you deal with fellow human beings, behave as one. They share in the logos and invoke the gods regardless. Don't worry about how long you will go on doing this. A single afternoon would be enough. Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. They were absorbed alike into the life force of the world or dissolved alike into atoms. Think of how much is going inside you every second, in your soul, in your body. Why should it astonish you that so much more everything that happens in that all embracing unity the world is happening at the same time? If somebody asked you to write your name, would you clench your teeth and spit out the letters one by one? If he lost his temper, would you lose yourself as well? Or would you just spell out the individual letters? Remember, the responsibilities can be broken down into individual parts as well. Concentrate on those and finish the job methodically without getting stirred up or meeting anger with anger. How cruel to forbid people to want what they think is good for them. And yet that's what you won't let them do when they get angry at their misbehavior. They're drawn towards what they think is good for them, but it's not good for them. Then show them that, prove it to them instead of losing your temper. Death, the end of self perception, of being controlled by emotions, of mental activity, of enslavement to our bodies. Disgraceful for the soul to give up when the body is still strong, to escape imperialization, that indelible stain. It happens. Make sure that you remain straightforward, upright, reverent, serious, unadorned, an ally of justice, pious, kind, affectionate, and doing your duty with a will. Fight to be the person philosophy tried to make you. Revere the gods, watch over human beings. Our lives are short. The only rewards of our existence here are an unstained character and unselfish acts. Take Antonius as your model always. His energy in doing what was rational, his steadiness in any situation, his sense of reverence, his calm expression, his gentleness, his modesty. his eagerness to grasp things, and how he never let things go before he was sure he had examined them thoroughly, understood them perfectly. The way he put up with unfair criticism without returning it, how he could not be hurried, how he wouldn't listen to informers, how reliable he was as a judge of character and of actions, not prone to backbiting or cowardice or jealousy or empty rhetoric, content with the basics in living quarters, bedding, clothes, food, servant, how hard he worked, how much he put up with, his ability to work straight through till dusk. Because of his simple diet, he didn't even need to relieve himself except at set times. His constancy, his reliability as a friend, his tolerance of people who openly question his views, and his delight at seeing his ideas improved on, his piety without any trace of superstition. So, so that when your time comes, your conscience will be as clear as his. Awake and return to yourself, no longer asleep, knowing they were only dreams, clear headed again. Treat everything around you as a dream. I am composed of a body and a soul. Things that happen to the body are meaningless, it cannot discriminate among them. Nothing has meaning to my mind except its own actions, which are within its own control, and it's only the immediate ones that matter. Its past and future actions too are meaningless. It is normal to feel pain in your hands and feet if you're using your feet as feet and hand as hands. And for a human being to feel stress is normal if he's living a normal human life. And if it's normal, how can it be bad? Thieves, perverts, barricades, dictators, that kind of pleasures they enjoy. Have you ever noticed how professionals will meet the man on the street halfway, but without compromising on the logos of their trade? Should we, as humans, feel less responsibility to our logos than builders or pharmacists do? The logos we share with the divine. Asia and Europe, the distant recesses of the universe, the ocean, a drop of water, Mount Athos, a molehill, the presser, a split second in eternity, minuscule, transitory, insignificant. Everything derives from it, the universal mind, either as an effect or a consequence. The lion's jaw, the poisonous substance, every harmful thing, from thorns to mud, are a byproduct of the good and the beautiful. So don't look at them as alien to what you revere, but focus on the source that all things spring from. If you've seen the present, then you've seen everything, as if it's been since the beginning and it will be forever. The same substance, the same form, all of it. Keep reminding yourself of the way things are connected, of their relatedness, and things are implicated in one another and in sympathy with each other. This event is a consequence of some other. Things push and pull on each other and they breathe together and are one. Things are ordained for you to teach yourself to be the one, to be at one with those. And people who share them with you treat them with love, with real love, implements, tools, equipment. If they do what they were designed for, then they work, even if the person who designed them is miles away. But with naturally occurring things, the force that designed them is present within them and remains there, which is why we owe it special reverence with the recognition that if you live and act as it dictates, then everything in you is intelligently ordered, just as everything in the world is. You take things you don't control and define them as good or bad. And so, of course, when the bad things happen or the good things don't, you blame the gods and feel hatred for the people responsible or those who decide to make responsible. Much of our bad behavior stems from trying to apply those criteria. If we limited good and bad to our own actions, we will have no call to challenge God or to treat other people as enemies. All of us are working on the same project, some consciously with the understanding, some without knowing it. I think that is what Herac- Heraclitus meant when he said, "Those who sleep are also hard at work," and they too collaborate in what happens. Some of us work in one way and some in others. And those who complain and try and obstruct and thwart things, they help as much as anyone. The world needs them as well. So make up your mind who you will choose to work with. The force that directs all things will make good use of you regardless, will put you on its payroll and set you to work. But make sure it's not the job Chrysippus, Chrysippus speaks of, the bad line in the play, put there for laughs. Does the sun try to do the rain's work, or Asclepius, Demeter's? What about each of the stars, different yet working in common? If the gods have made decisions about me and the things that happened to me, then they were good decisions. It is hard to picture a god who makes bad ones. And if and why would they expend their energies on causing me harm, what's what good would it do to them or the world, which is their primary concern? And if they haven't made decisions about me as an individual, they certainly have about general welfare. And if anything that follows from that is something I have to welcome and embrace. And if they make no decisions about anything, then it is blasphemous even to think. Because so then let's stop sacrificing, praying, swearing oaths, and doing all the other things that we do, believing the whole time that if gods are right here with us, if they decide nothing about our lives, well, I can still make decisions, can still consider what's to my benefit to do, and what benefits anyone is to do what his nature requires, and mine is rational and civic. My city and state are Rome, as Antonius, but as human being, the world. So for me, good can only mean what's good for both communities. Whatever happens to you is for the good of the world. That would be enough right there. But if you look closely, you'll notice something else as well. Whatever happens to a single person is for the good of others, good in the ordinary sense, as the world defines it. Just as the arena and the other spectacles vary you, you've seen them all before. The repetition grates on your nerves, and so with life. The same things, the same causes on all sides. How much longer? Keep this constantly in mind that all sorts of people have died, all professionals, all nationalities. Follow the thought all the way from Philistine, Phoebus, and Origanion. Now extend it to other species. We have to go there too, where all of them have gone. The eloquent of the wise, the Herculetus, Pythagoras, Socrates, the heroes of the old, the soldiers, the kings who followed them, Eudoxus, Hipparchus, Archimedes, the smart, the generous, the hardworking, the cunning, the selfish, even Menippus and his cohorts who laughed at the whole brief, fragile business, all underground for a long time now. And what harm does it do, do to them? Or the others either, the ones whose names we don't even know. The only thing that isn't worthless is to live this life out truthfully and rightly, and be patient with those who don't. When you need encouragement, think of the qualities the people around you have. This one's energy, that one's modesty, others' generosity, and so on. Nothing is as encouraging when the virtues are visibly embodied in the people around us, and we are practically showered with them. It's good to keep this in mind. It doesn't bother that you weigh only X or Y pounds and not 300. Why should it bother you that you have only X or Y years to live and not more? You accept the limits placed on your body, accept those placed on your time. Do the best to convince them, but act on your own. If justice requires it, if met with force, then fall back on acceptance and peaceability. Use the setback to practice other virtues. Remember that our efforts are subject to circumstances. You weren't aiming to do the impossible. Aiming to do what then? To try, and you succeeded. What you set out to do is accomplished. Ambition means trying your well being to what other people say or do. Self indulgence means trying to do the things that happen to you. Sanity means trying it to your own actions. You don't have this to turn into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Things can't shape our decisions by themselves. Practice means really hearing what people say. Do your best to get inside people's mind. What injures the hive injures the bee. If the crew talked back to the captain or the patients to their doctor, then whose authority would they accept? Or how could the passengers be kept safe or the patient healthy? All those people who came to the world with me have already left it. Honey tastes bitter to a man with jaundice. People with rabbis are terrified of water. And the child's idea of beauty is a ball. Why does that upset you? Do you think falsehood is less powerful than a bite or a rabid dog? No one can keep you from living as your nature requires. Nothing can happen to you if it's not required by nature. The people they want to ingratiate themselves with, and the results and the things they do in the process. How quickly it will be erased by time. How much has been erased already. With that, we come to the end of chapter 6. So let's unbox some of the things from book 6. I think one of the first things that comes is that uh, do the right thing. Don't overthink about things. Don't uh, don't don't try to live for others. I think that's a common theme across. And do what seems right to you, what comes from your inner nature, and do it honestly, do it sincerely, and keep going back to the root of it. Keep going back to so he's got this very good example saying that if you have stepmother and real mother, you would still pay your respects to your stepmother, but you keep going back to your real mother. So go back to what nature has ordained to you. Go back to what is your true nature and start from there. And that's possibly the first lesson that we get from this chapter. Uh, the second thing is that don't get too impressed by things. Don't get impressed by things very easily. He gives the example of this amazing purple robe of a king, which is basically wool from sheep, with the color coming from shellfish, which is grinded. So, ordinary people are impressed by these things. Rise above them. Whatever you eat, your your meat, your your pork is just goat, is just a dead goat or a dead pig. Yeah. So don't get impressed. Don't get, it's a way of bringing all the praises that you shower on things, bring it back to earth. Stay grounded, stay real. Um, and then he goes back to what then, if I'm not impressed with anything, what is the point of living? What is that we should prize, uh, that we respire? Even animals do that, or or moving in herds, even animals do that, or we transpire, even plants do that. So what is that which is to be prized? Is it being appreciated by people? What value does that appreciation have? People who've been appreciated for years and decades, people who are legends in their own birthright, have been forgotten. So kings, great emperors, this is another theme which he keeps repeating over chapters, is that it does not matter how great a person you are, you will die and people will forget you. So try and live your life for today. Try to impress, or rather not impress, try to sustain your character. Try and keep an unstained character for today and do not bother about posterity. You want to be valued and respected by great grandchildren. Why do that? Don't waste your time. Get focused. Yeah. So that's another important lesson. Um what else? He keeps repeating about the great people. Socrates, Archimedes, all of them died. So don't get too upset by death. It is there for you to come and accept it. Yes, that's then there's a very important lesson, which is don't get too uh, don't get too upset by jobs which seem undaunting. uh, Break down the mountain into a molehill and start from there. Objectively look at each job, break it down into something which you can handle meaningfully and move from there. And maybe you will climb the mountain, but take one step at a time. you know One drop at a time. Build an ocean, but don't get psyched by the mountain in front of you. Yeah, that's another good learning for us from this chapter. And what else? Yeah, all the people who've died. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. So we've come to the end of chapter 6, and we will catch up with chapter 7 with hopefully a longer and better, well understood summary from me. Thank you very much, and see you in the next chapter. Bye.